Ugh. I'm done with this beard.
Hey guys, TazzyPhe here. How is it going? Okay, I feel like I look like Buzz Lightyear. To infinity and beyond. So guys, today's gonna be a ramble, rant, chill video, okay? So get your little tea and get ready for some... Okay, so today I'm going to talk about brown parents. Is that a new French restaurant? No. Brown parents / immigrant videos, the topic today. They are a hit, okay? You want to get Instagram famous, you want to get YouTube famous, all you gotta do, brown parent video, brown parent video. Just copy your parents' accents over and over again and it will get you to the top. Why haven't I done that, Steam? Why haven't you done that? I'm not gonna lie. When I see a video of someone copying their brown parents or immigrant parents, I love it, okay? I eat that up. I replay that, I save it, I repost it on Instagram. That's what happens. And I feel like we enjoy it for a reason because I think it resonates, it's endearing. You feel like, oh, that's my parents, haha, that's so funny though, it's relatable. But I've also, on the other hand, seen a lot of criticisms of that on TikTok. Like, people are not happy about people getting lots of views, just mimicking accents and being like, la, 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 you know, they don't like it. And the reason that I think that is because they feel that it perpetuates stereotypes. Like, I've seen a lot of criticisms of Lily Singh, for example. You know, there are people out there who feel like she just kind of got famous because she was making fun of her parents. And I may be wrong about this, but from where I sit, I think it's because people feel that she has an audience that is not just Indian. So it's almost like you're exploiting your own people or your own parents just to make you famous and just to get in with the gore log, you know what I mean? I also think the landscape has changed. Like, we have millennials who are using social media, and then we also have like Gen Z, and you know, when it comes to like Superwoman, for example, a lot of her videos at the time were popular with the younger audiences, and so naturally those are going to be people who are like making fun of their parents or think it's funny when you do that kind of stuff. But when you have the potential for your audience being outsiders, and what I mean by that is if you're making fun of your Indian parents and you have a bunch of white people watching your videos and, you know, you're just perpetuating stereotypes, you're part of the problem, and it could be perceived as even worse the bigger of an audience that you have. And her audience is huge. Now, this is not completely parallel to this, but I've seen a lot of criticisms of like a show like Rami also, where people are angry because they're like, I don't feel like that represents me as a Muslim, and I feel like that's a bad representation of Muslims, and I don't like that this exists or that this is being shown to audiences that are not Muslim because it doesn't represent me. Now, I have my own stance on this, and for me, I never really think that the problem is you dressing up as your parents and making fun of them and getting famous off that, or something as simple as, well, like, that's not my experience, why are you making Muslims look bad? The real problem in my eyes is that it's very one-dimensional. I'll put it this way, if there's only one story being told, then obviously that story is going to seem like it represents everybody. But in my opinion, I don't feel like the creators or the people who make those things are to blame. The problem is that those are the only stories that are being allowed to be told. Those are the only stories that money is being put into. Because if you had a plethora of stories or representations of people, one story is not going to represent everybody. So I guess in a way what I'm saying is I don't really agree with the criticisms of someone like Lily Singh. I don't feel like it's her responsibility to censor herself all the time. So I don't feel like the problem is stereotypes. I feel like the problem is that that becomes the only thing out there. Over the years, I have gotten a lot of comments and messages, probably not recently, but you know, more in the beginning of my YouTube stuff, where people really wanted me to make videos about my parents or making fun of brown parents, and people love that. Even they're like, oh my god, when you dress up as your dad, that's the most hilarious thing. I didn't really succumb to that, and the reason being is that I feel like with whatever I do, there has to be an intention behind it. I don't want to make fun of people just for the sake of making fun of people. If I am going to dress up as my parents or some version which is not really my parents or exaggerate it, it's because I'm trying to make a point or I'm telling a bigger story. I mean, I still make jokes about my parents, don't get me wrong, but the truth is, if anybody ever in my face or behind my face ever made fun of my parents, like it's happened in my life, I will cut them. I've never cut anybody, but I'm just saying. Like, I remember a long time ago, before I had moved to CU, we went up and we were like exploring the dorms. Me and my mom were in line and she had kind of grabbed like a salad or something and she kind of moved out of line and was looking through, you know, the things that moms do, whatever, right? She's kind of all over the place. And there was a white girl behind us who was like whispering stuff under her breath and like looking at her a certain way. And ooh, you will not disrespect my mother. Not after what she sacrificed in her life. I will smack you. And my mom was totally oblivious to this. And then we went outside and we're sitting on the grass, me, my dad, and my mom, and I am holding back tears. Like, I'm so angry, I'm so frustrated. I don't say anything to them because I don't want to tell them why I'm so upset or mad. And they're like, oh, she's so sad. It's okay, we're only an hour away, it's not a big deal. And I was like, yeah, that's not. I never told them why I was actually mad. But anyway, part of the struggle is like, if you're making those videos or doing that kind of stuff, you're like, huh, if I do that, then people think it's okay to make fun of my parents, and it's not, because I will smack you, because I will not accept that. Card declined. I'll take that card, put it in your mouth this way so you can't talk. So I just want to talk a little bit about why I don't make those videos, even though it's very tempting, because I'm like, ooh, girl, 100,000 subscribers, 500,000 types of brown people, first brown, white first brown parents, la la la. One of the big reasons is that I've kind of grown out of that angsty time. I've survived the storms. And now that I'm approaching 30, I see my parents so differently than I did when I was in my 20s. I don't see them anymore as like, oh, you're ruining my life, mom. And part of that was my trips to Pakistan. By spending time with extended family, in childhood homes, the relatives, and just being around the culture in general, I feel like it helped me understand what kind of world they came from. Like, to me, a lot of the things that they did were so strict, but when I go to, especially like, let's say a place like Peshawar, I'm like, oh, actually, okay, this is like really strict. Like, I'm like, oh, so in your eyes, how you guys were with me is not even that strict. Another thing was also the language learning. So I think I did a video a year or two back where I talked about how I was trying to learn how to speak Urdu properly and read and write it. That also made me look at my parents differently. I realized how much language has an impact on who you are. So although a lot of things are really funny and things get lost in translation and a lot of things that I make fun of my parents, it's hilarious the way they say things or whatever it may be. When I try to learn Urdu, I realized how difficult it is to learn another language, especially as an adult, even if you have some sort of base in it. Like, it's not like I've never spoken or learned Urdu before, but yet it was so difficult for me to pick up things or catch things or fix my accent. And so it really made me empathize with them. I mean, some things are still really funny, don't get me wrong. Like, there are things that are always going to be hilarious no matter what, and TikTok worthy. Like, there's these cultural differences or these idioms or whatever it may be that are just funny. But also during my trips to Pakistan, I realized how sometimes language can totally erase your personality. Maybe not totally erase it, but what I mean by that is when I go to Pakistan, because I can't speak that well, I realize like I'm just quiet and I can't be myself. I'm not funny. Things don't mean the same thing when I'm there. The way that I see people banter and make jokes and just be themselves, it's like there's so much charm to it, and it's like they're so witty and smart. And you immigrate to a place and then this language is so blah. Like, I'm sorry, English is really blah. And it kind of like waters down a lot of your humor, a lot of the things, the way they translate. Now, I'm not trying to be on this like moral high ground, all right? It's not like I'm like this human being who never makes jokes or makes fun of things that my parents say or do, because I mean, I'm gonna do it. But, you know, I'm just a very critical person. I analyze everything. So obviously, because I grew up in a strict household, so that's what happens. So I've just thought about the ethics of it, the conflict of it, and just everything that goes into it. The other thing is that as you get older, you see your parents less as these people who are your role models and are like, you know, how could you ever not be perfect and let me down? And you know, things change. You see them as human beings. You become the age that they were when they had you. You know, your parents, just like you, are growing and they make mistakes and they have regrets. Like, it's not like they don't. I think just like you're learning and growing, they are too. And if I'm being completely honest, I had a really tough time, especially in my 20s. I wanted to be somebody that I don't think was in alignment with how my parents expected me to be, and I made some decisions that they didn't agree with. And I've seen a lot of like stuff on therapy TikTok and woke TikTok, and I don't always agree with that either, you know? Like, I think some of it is true, but I think when you are Muslim, you have this delicate balance that you play. They are meant to have the highest level of respect and everything. And in some situations, I feel like sometimes kids may feel like they are being wronged, and some are, you know, and there's a lot of pressure to be certain things because of culture or whatever it is. You know, some people may even get pressured into things like marriage or careers or whatever it is, like, you know, familial ties and your relationship with your parents in Eastern cultures. I'm saying Eastern like as a very broad thing, but it is very different. You have a lot more respect, I noticed, as opposed to the way that maybe American culture is towards parents, that I do see. But yeah, I mean, I would say, like, in looking back, I feel like you can love people and still respect them. You can make your decisions. You know, maybe some people have to break their ties, but I think, you know, life is really about navigating the waters, trying not to capsize, you know, and just making it through. And it can be really tough. This may not be very helpful for a lot of people, I'm realizing, because some people are in really toxic, abusive situations. And one thing is, you cannot heal from trauma until you're out of it, like out of that situation. You can't. But yeah, it's a delicate balance, right? But yeah, that's really the reason why I never leaned really heavy into just making videos making fun of my parents. I just think too much. That's really the answer. I think too much, and ethics. So I guess what the point of this video is I want to know your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about navigating relationships with parents, coming from different cultures, and with the strict, you know, if you grow up in very strict environments. Also, I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are on TikToks and YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff that is kind of poking fun at brown parents or immigrant parents, and what you guys think of that. So anyway, just, you know, this is just kind of casual, you know, discussion video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Buzz Lightyear. I have things to do. I have galaxies to police, so take care now. Okay, bye. TazzyPhe out. Support me, like a comment, and share.